Hello, and welcome back to another video in my Learning to Draw series. Today, we're going to do a beginning exercise of drawing the contour line around our shoes. So to start this assignment, what I want you to do is sit down on a chair, cross your feet, and put your sketchbook on your lap, or if you have a piece of paper, you can put that on a hard surface. We're going to do a line drawing of this and not a value drawing, so no shading. A quick note, what I want you to do is avoid starting the picture by drawing the laces or any of the stitching. Instead, I'd rather you draw the outside edge first, and you're going to work your way in. So large shapes, and then we're going to move that into smaller shapes. So to make sure you have this, what I've done is I've grabbed a piece of tracing paper, and I'm going to go ahead and start to just draw the overall outside shape of my sneakers. I have a little bit of shadow over here, that's why I'm not drawing this part out here. Be a little confusing. All right, so I have the overall outside shape. Okay, and then you'll want to start to build in some of these smaller shapes that are in here. Okay, so we'll do that. Put the tracing paper back on so you can see. This might be a little hard to see. I don't think I'm actually going to be able to see all the stitching in there. But you can just kind of figure out where the end of maybe your pants start, your jeans. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and try to do this drawing without the use of tracing paper, so you can see how I would do it. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead, start off with this right shoe, and I want to look to see how far out my farthest side is. So it looks like it's this top part right here, and this would be, this part right here is the part that sticks out the top the most. So when we're drawing, we're going to try to find in our shapes the parts that stick out the most so that we can try to form our curves and try to remember those points. It would probably be best to get maybe a little sketchy on this while you're doing it, so I wouldn't commit to any hard lines by pressing down too hard. That looks like it's about right. Now I want to work on my left foot. I'm sorry, my right foot. Left on this side, but that's actually my right foot. Okay, so when we're doing this, let's look to see what part of the shoe is the highest point. That would be this, and on this side, we're going to look here to see what is the farthest point out, and that looks like it's about here. And I'm also going to look to see where this is in relation to this shoe. That way I know when I draw on this side how far up I need to go. So if you look here, it looks like I've made my shoe just a little bit bigger, but I'm going to continue with this proportion size because when you're drawing it, you're not actually going to be trying to copy the exact scale of what you're looking at. You might be increasing it or decreasing it. But what you want to do is commit to one shape, and then you're going to base everything around that shape. That's almost going to be like your key. So we have this part as the ending point. We have this part here is the other ending point. So we'll see if, let's go up a little bit. Let's see if this aligns. It's like we're pretty close here. Now this is a beginning exercise, so we're really just trying to focus on contour line. If you really want to loosen up, I would suggest just doing this with marker, not even doing it with pencil. That way you can kind of, just as you draw your lines, you can just correct with the marker and then maybe just overlap your lines a few times to get it right. All right, so I've got the overall outside part. The next thing I want to do is find the next biggest shape. So for me, I'm going to do this part of the sneaker. You could arguably say that maybe this part would be the next biggest part, but I think this might be the easier part to do. So let's just do that. So it looks like this part of the seam is starting here. So let's put in this shape that's right here. All right, I'm just going to continue the outsole of the sneaker. Let it come out. Notice that's getting thinner as I go down near the heel. Maybe this popped out just a little too much, but all right, so we have this part over here. Might be a little hard to see with the camera. I'm going to continue this flap. I'm not going to do the laces just yet. We have some stitching here. I'm going to just mark that with a line. You could, if you wanted to, just put dots for the stitching. It's up to you. I'm just going to put lines here just to make sure it's nice and visible on the camera. I've got a part where the sneaker logo over here. All right, I'm ready to work on the other side. For now, I'm going to save the laces because that's the smallest shape. So same thing, I'm going to start with this top part right here. 1 second while I make an adjustment. All right, I'm going to put the stitching in. This part might be a little hard to see right here, but is where the flap of the sneaker is kind of bending over. All right, so I have my flaps done. The last part is to do the laces. So for this, I would say you don't have to go too crazy here trying to make it perfect. I would say just kind of maybe figure out where your openings are. And then just match that on the side. I think I'm improvising here, and I think you can too. That's okay. So go ahead and just try to improvise this a little bit without without being too hard on yourself. So we're going to have some crisscrossing happening. So we should have an over-under thing happening with our laces. So I'm definitely improvising right now. My picture, you'll see that I have laces going on top. So I'll start to draw those in. So I'm going to do a little erasing for this. If you don't want to put these laces on the top, you can improvise here. You can kind of do what you want. Our overall goal is to try to get the basic study was to get the overall shape of this. I think that was really the heavy lifting of what we were trying to do. And we would do the same thing on this side. I'll try to go a little faster here. So we're going over and under. At least that's how my sneakers are looking. You guys can just follow whatever pattern you have with your shoes or sneakers. And the last part is for me to do this loop that's here. Put in some of the sole I missed over here on this part of the sneaker, and it looks like I have a little bit of the shoe logo on the side. All right, so I have finished my shoe outline. So why don't you go ahead, give that a try, and see how you do. Thanks so much for watching. I hope I brought you some value, and I'll see you soon.